Hey, what's going on, Wealthy Legacy Journeyers? Welcome back to the Wealthy Legacy Journey, the show where we talk about building wealth on purpose for a purpose. I am your host, Kendell Liden. I'm super excited to bring you guys today's episode. And honestly, we're moved in, which is so exciting. But it's like kind of we're in this like interim moving in thing, which if anybody's ever moved before, you know that this is quite a process, especially when you're moving from one place to another place and the other place isn't quite ready when you're moving out of the first place. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. So, as you guys know, just to kind of recap what's happened, where I'm at, what we're doing here, we made the decision back in like April of 20, what is this year? 2024, to move out of our house. We had an acre, we had 1,500 square feet, and we had a farm, we had farm dog, we had all these different responsibilities. We had rabbits, we had chickens, we had tons of stuff. And the word of this year for my family was focus. And so it was back, I guess if we even rewind a little bit further, I want to say it was about March of 2024 that we got rear-ended when we were on the highway. We were driving on 20 in Texas, going home from church on a Sunday, and somebody just plowed into the back of our minivan. Praise the Lord, everybody's okay. But that season got really, really busy. Well, it had been just a few months earlier at the end of 2023, beginning of 2024, we had decided that our word of the year was going to be focus for our family. And so figuring out how do we dial in and get more and more focused. And if you guys remember at the very beginning of the year, when I set my goals up for the year, I had like 12 different goals. And to me, I thought that was focus until I realized that, well, having 12 different goals makes it really hard to focus on each one. You're pushing all these different fronts forward. And so we ended up scrapping their initial list and looking at, what is really the big goals. And so Libby and I from there kind of were chewing on, what's the big thing that we really want to focus on. We had decided we were going to get rid of the rabbits. We decided that we were going to get rid of the chickens. We were just downsizing life. We got rear-ended. And that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back for us. Like we were kind of at this point where we were just absolutely overwhelmed, realized that if we were, for example, if we were messed with a propane tank before, they only fill a propane tank up to 80%. The reason is for whenever the seasons heat up, your propane will expand and you never want your tank to exceed 100% or it could explode, which would be really bad. So they only fill it up to about 80%. So in life, Libby and I were looking back and going, why do we fill our personal life tanks up to 100, 105, 110% where we are like on the edge of exploding, if not exploding? And then the second that life comes up, like we're definitely exploding, right? Like we felt like we were living at basically 100%. Car accident came and all of a sudden, boom, like we were blowing up. Everything was blowing up everywhere in our lives. We just felt like we couldn't keep up. We felt like the pace was just way too fast. Libby and I were both redlining. It was just absolutely insane. Now, for reference, we also have a 4.5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. So things are pretty busy on the parental front for us. We were 30 minutes away from family. We were an hour away from our church community that we really love. So we didn't want to transition churches. So we were a long way away from community. Libby and I hadn't gotten really consistent date nights for like a year and a half. So there again, we weren't being able to focus on one of those important fronts being our marriage. And that only added more pressure to life, building things up. And so after the accident came through, we realized that we were just living at way too much like high level capacity as far as what our tank could handle. And we didn't want the acre anymore. We didn't want all the stuff. We didn't want all the responsibility. And so we started looking into different lifestyles and we found the RV lifestyle, which is actually where I'm recording this right now. And so we decided, okay, we're going to downsize our life. My family has some property. They have an acre and a half. And so it's not a ton of property, but they have some property. And we're like, hey, you guys have mentioned before, if we ever like needed it, we could move here. Would you be okay with us moving here onto the property? And obviously we pay for where we park. We were able to, well, let me back up. So we pay for our utilities. We pay for where we park. Like this isn't just like a freebie. For us, it was more of just downsizing responsibilities, but it does significantly down the amount of expenses that we have. So then we looked at, well, what is it going to take to sell the house? It took about 3 weeks of very aggressive repairs to get the place ready. I recorded some episodes during that time and things were just insane. To getting rid of our farm dog. That was a lot of tears as Charlie went to a new farm and he's doing really great, but that was a really hard thing to do there. During fixing up the house, Libby and I think one or two of the kids got like super sick. They got this really bad stomach bug, so that was not fun. I got sick at one point. We kept pushing through and we got the house ready to list. Then we listed the house and we listed it for 275. And the first 2 weeks went by. We thought we were about to have to lower the price. Our realtor did some changes in advertising, and all of a sudden, boom, we had an offer. We got an offer at 265. We did some counters, ended up getting it back up to 275. And from there, we had repairs and stuff that had to be done. All this while, mind you, I'm trying to do the show, I'm trying to do our own investments, and I'm trying to work my job, and I'm, moving and fixing up a house and finding a trailer. And oh my gosh, dude, it was insane. Like, I thought my life was at max capacity before. I was absolutely exhausted after all of this process. So, anyways, so that brings us to the point where, we got this offer. Like I said, we had done all the repairs in the house, and then we're saying our final goodbyes. I'm not gonna lie, there was a lot of tears in that goodbye. But we knew that we were accomplishing two things. Number one, we were able to pull the equity out of our home that we had been able to achieve over a very short time, 2 years. It's pretty insane. We did buy this as a flip property, so there was already some equity there to begin with, and then we were able to pull more equity out of it because the market in Texas has appreciated, and I think around the country, so much in the last 2 years. So from there, I think we ended up being able to make like 56,000 off of the sale of our house, which was awesome. So after tithe, we were basically at like 5 grand. We bought this trailer that I'm sitting in now for 32,000. It needed a little bit of work, but nothing that we were, afraid of. Most of the stuff was just kind of optional if we wanted to. It was not stuff that had to be done, like awnings. The generator doesn't work, but it's like we're hooked up to power. We don't necessarily need a generator. The awnings, we probably won't use them. So we could fix it. We got the price down so that there was budget allocated to be able to fix it, but probably we won't invest our money there. So we had 50,000, bought the trailer for 32. We're going to go put the title in our name this week, but that would probably cost about $2,000 for the tax, title, and license. Very similar to like a vehicle registration. So that'd be like another $2,000. So that'll put us all in at like 34,000 on this trailer. And then we have some things that we're doing that we needed to do in order to make it fit our family a little bit better. So I've got to build like a little baby area for Kendall Bryan, our little 1-year-old. We're taking out the big bed in the front and building bunk beds for my two girls, Leanne and Liberty. I'm actually in my room now. And so eventually what we're going to do is we're going to have like a curtain right here that separates the bed area from kind of the office area. I'm going to put us in a nicer bed here. And then Libby's going to help me beautify the podcast setup space. And so this whole thing is actually going to turn and be on that wall right there. And it's going to be a lot better background. We're talking about doing maybe some like shiplap here in the room. And then I'm going to set up all the books for The American Dream or Lie, the book that we're going to be writing. And so I started doing some reading on that. Obviously, life got so insane that I have had no time to do any reading. I'm so excited to be able to get back to reading and back into that book. But pretty much all of the books that we are going to be using during that series are here. I would pull some out to show you because they're in a box down here. But I think we're going to have plenty of more episodes where I'm going to be able to show you. But tons and tons of books, lots of great content. I'm so excited to go through those and share all of those with you. But yeah, so this isn't really going to be a normal episode. That was a huge life date. I should have led with that. I don't have my tablet set up right now for drawing out the doodles. I don't even have a double. Well, actually, I just literally right minutes before I started recording this, I set up my desk for the very first time here in the trailer. So I don't have my lights set up, but I did want to get the nicer microphone back in because I thought it made a significant difference. Got the camera back up and going there. So I've still got to figure out there's stuff like everywhere because we're still just trying to figure out how to move in. KB's in our room right now until the baby gate gets put up in this upper area. And so there's just like all this stuff as we're figuring out, how do you downsize from like almost 1,600 square feet to 400 square feet with 5 people? I'm not going to say it's impossible, and I think we're actually going to have a really great time here, but it was definitely a lot of downsizing and figuring out, okay, what stays, what goes, how do we want things? Like, for example, we've been in this trailer for about half a week now. We just got chairs on the inside of the trailer for the first time last night. It was Sunday night. I'm actually recording this Monday morning. These episodes come out on Monday morning. But we went over, grabbed these chairs from where we had moved them to my in-laws' house. We went and grabbed them last night just so we could have some chairs inside the house because like the night before I brought in lawn chairs. They were huge, but I was like, I need a place to sit down inside. So anyways, I want to remind you guys, though, a practical business step for this week is that this is coming out on July 1st, actually, the very first of the month. So I want to remind you guys, pay yourself first. Now, I'm so excited. One of the big reasons that we moved, it was to increase our cash flow. So I still make a paycheck from my job. I've had this job for a little over a year now, if you've been following the show. And it's been difficult to keep for me, I'm not going to lie, because I love being independent, self-employed on my own. But anyways, it is great to have that cash flow steady paycheck. So pay yourself first. So this month, praise the Lord, because I get paid every week, is how my pay structure works. And so last month was a 5-week month. And then Libby and I, we have enough in our savings to basically, we build up income throughout the month in this one account. And then like we pay it all at one time. So it's not like we get paid to our personal account once a week. We actually have like 2 accounts. We get paid in this account over here. And then like in one lump sum at the beginning of the month, it goes over. So we get all of the money at one month, if that makes sense, at one time in the month. And so whatever money's like, so basically we have it allocated to bring our budget down as much as possible. So then we go, okay, here's what goes to investments because we know how much we make. So we pay our investments first and then we pay our paycheck second. And there's like nothing left in this initial account here. And then it just gets filled back up. So praise the Lord. Super excited that Libby's and I pay yourself first this month was $2,000 that we put towards investments, which I am so excited about. I'm so proud of what, the Lord has helped Libby and I to accomplish, the sacrifices that we've made, the pain that we've gone through to get to this moment. In all reality, it's been no small thing. But to have that $2,000 of cash flow, is just awesome. Plus, we were able to take pretty much all the difference from selling our house and buying the trailer, which I think was like $16,000. That went to investments as well. So right now at this moment, we've got about $11,000 in real estate in that 2-acre Palestine deal. We've got like, I want to say we've got like 20 in one account, and we've got another 4-ish in another account from that 2,000. We had like 1,700 plus another 2,000. So we're like 3,700. We've got 20,000 over here. We're still waiting on getting a small payout from Hudson. And then we have 2 more lots from Hudson, and those should end up making us somewhere in the ballpark of like 100 grand. So right now we have, like I said, 10,000 plus another 10,000 of equity in that deal. So if you count the real estate deal, we've got 10,000-ish cash and 10,000-ish equity. So that's about a $20,000 stake in real estate, like I said. We've got like 24,000 between the different accounts. We've got a couple thousand coming in from this Hudson deal. So we'll just round that up to like 30. So if we're doing quick math, we got like 20,000 in real estate, 30,000 that's coming in the bank account, should be getting paid from that Hudson deal this week. About 30,000, 25 to 30. We'll just say 25 to tone it back a little bit. So 20, 25, so we're at 45. And then we should have about 125, give or take, from the rest of Hudson. So we'll just say another 100. Technically, that's real estate. So in the Hudson deal, which is a joint venture, I have $100,000 of equity, roughly. Probably a little bit more, but we'll just say 100,000. I've got $20,000 in real estate in my own deals with KO Cash Real Estate and the 2 acres of Palestine deal. And then we have another 25-ish in the bank. So I'm really excited because I feel like we're in a really good position right now. We're going to be cash flowing every month. We've got $45,000 basically in the hand that we personally own 100%. And then we've got, another $100,000 in this JV deal. We're very quickly approaching $150,000 net worth. We own this trailer cash, which is so exciting. We took the equity from our home. We bought this cash. We were debating about whether we finance it or not. There's just incredible security in owning it cash. And so we are now actually 100% debt free. So when you guys joined me a year ago, I can't remember if it was before I started the show or right after I started the show, but I sold my truck, which was a 2014, 2015, something like that, GMC Sierra Denali. Nope, it wasn't a Denali. It was a Sierra, a GMC Sierra 1500, like SLT or something like that. It was leather. It was remote start. It was decked out. Coolest thing that I had ever owned. I was so proud of it. I thought it made me something. We were about to buy Libby a vehicle on debt. And that was going to just add to our payments. We were going to have Libby, basically her job on top of raising the kids was going to be doing the farm in order to be able to pay the car payments that we had for the van and for the truck. And we had all these things. We were building up debts. And basically, I didn't get as much money as I was hoping to in my job. And at that time, before that, we were running a business and where we were trying to build an algorithm for a stock market. We had gotten really far. But here's the problem is that we were spending like $8,000 to $10,000 a month just to stay afloat. And then on top of that, we were trying to add more to the plate by taking on more debt. Like looking back, I'm going, what the heck was this guy doing? But that was me. I was just in this life, just making decisions, making decisions. I wanted my life to be better. I felt like it should be here, even though I was in all actuality, like down here. And so I was just having to come to terms with where am I actually at right now? And I need to lower my expectations, lower my standards of life to where I'm actually at right now. And so now, excuse me, now we're to a place where we actually only need about $3,000 a month to live. So we went from spending $8,000 to $10,000 a month that we needed in order to survive, and we've gone down to $3,000 a month that we need in order to survive, which is crazy. Like I think about, I basically I was able to support with the cash that I had in the bank for about 8 months or something like that whenever we started building that algorithm before I ran out of cash. I had a couple months left of cash, but obviously at $8,000 a month, I think I had like 10 grand left in the bank. And we were just like, we got to call this quits. We cannot run down to zero again. I had to get this job and like we reset everything. But if you look at that, at 8 months, with a burn rate that was about triple what I need now, I could have survived for 2 years on the same amount of cash with a lower burn rate. And so one of the doodles that I'm actually excited about that we're not going to talk about today, but we are going to be talking about very soon is our churn to burn ratio. And I've come up with I've got a couple really cool doodles, a couple really cool videos I've been watching over the last few weeks. I just had to get life settled back out to normal before I try to start incorporating all this extra stuff back into the show again. But I'm excited to share that with you guys. So the decision that Libby and I have made is that we are going to diversify our portfolio because I really want to learn stocks and I really want to learn real estate. And I know real estate, I want to keep doing real estate, learning new ways to do real estate. I don't know everything about real estate by any means. And I also want to do stocks and options. And so we decided that we're going to split our capital 50-50 between stocks and real estate. So about 22-ish thousand between in real estate and about $22,000 in stocks. And I think it's just going to be a really good way to kind of diversify our capital pool and then also be able to diversify my own personal learning in order to be able to pour back into you guys and into the wealthy legacy journey because everybody really wants to know about like stocks and real estate. It's kind of the two big heavy hitters. And so in my mind, it's like I'm not going to probably become the expert in either one of these, but I would love to be able to have like a really well-rounded, educated conversation based on a place of understanding, not just knowing, if that makes sense. Understanding from the sense of like, I've done this before on these different topics. And, at the end of the day, if you're looking for somebody that can take you a mile deep into one of these, like you're probably going to need to work with one of the coaches or mentors that I'm going to work with to teach me some of this stuff. But it is going to be great to be able to have kind of that, initial, hey, I've touched base with this before. I've done it maybe even in depth. I just, haven't done it for a whole career like some of these other guys have. So anyways, that's kind of what we think our final decision is going to be. We've agreed to take the rest of the month of July to settle out the finances, figure out where we're at, just get the book straight. And then at the beginning of August, we're going to make some decisions and kick everything online. So we decided not to go to the tax sale again in July just because that tax sale would actually be tomorrow. And I have had literally zero time to do any research for that. And I've got a lot of work on my normal day job that pays me that cash flow that I have to get done. I'm a little bit backlogged right now. And so this week is all about getting caught up and back on track with all that stuff because I have to get that taken care of. But yeah, I mean, just to look at like a little bit, here's we're closing out some of the craziness that we've gone through. Like on Monday of this past week, so literally a week ago from today that this episode's coming out and I'm recording this, our house closed. And there were some tears that came with that, just scared of like, we felt homeless. We felt like we didn't have a place to belong, we'd already been out of our house for several days. We're supposed to close on Friday. We didn't end up closing till Monday. We had already moved all the stuff out. And it was a really difficult feeling, having nowhere to call home. Um, I sympathize. My uncle Wayne has a homeless ministry called Our Calling over in Dallas, and I can't even imagine what that feeling feels like. And I was telling Libby, I told her this a while ago, but it kind of came back up. Was like, I would love, he helps homeless people rehabilitate back into society, just get them up on their feet, get cleaned up, get job interviews, and just get back into that rhythm. And it's a wonderful ministry that he has there. He spent years building up something really amazing. And I've told Libby, I was like, I would love to connect with some of those people and walk them through the wealthy legacy journey of saying like, hey, don't even just like restart and just get a job. But like, could we take some of these people from like the just being homeless and having nothing to being able to actually build significant wealth, build back up to, a really cool place. So I don't even know what that looks like, but after being homeless, not having a house, and the trailer wasn't here for a couple days, I just kind of reignited that idea of like, man, that'd be something so cool to pour back into the community. So it was Monday. Tuesday, I scrambled to finish up a bunch of work, and we were preparing for picking up the trailer because on Wednesday we spent all day driving there and back and getting everything parked to pick up the trailer. So we went like 4 hours away to pick up the trailer. Crazy thing, everything was going great when we were picking it up. The woman that we bought it from, I could tell it was just as difficult for her to sell the trailer as it was for us to sell our house. And Libby and I were like, man, we feel so bad. It's just a really hard feeling, as you're saying goodbye. Like it was time, just like it was time for us to sell our house, but that didn't make it easy necessarily. So, but as we're closing this thing up, because it is a trailer, it has these slides. Like one of the slides gets stuck and will not close. So like she's kind of freaking out a little bit. We're kind of freaking out a little bit. Like, is this the right thing to be doing? The guy who tows these things around shows up, and he's like, "Oh, it's no big deal." Helps us like push it in. He's like, "I'll help you push it out when we get there. It's not a big deal. This happens all the time." I was like, well, "Whatever. If you're confident, I'm confident because I have no idea what we're doing here." So we ended up getting it here. It was 4 hour drive back. We did get it here. We got it parked. We got it all hooked up. Slide pushed back out. Everything was great. Got it leveled. And I was like, okay, cool. Like now we're getting set up. And so stuff has just been coming in like crazy. We're getting, we're bringing stuff in, throwing stuff out. Like I said, figuring out how do you go from 1,600 square feet to 400 square feet. We've already cleared out a ton of stuff before we even got here. We're kind of down to all the stuff that is like, okay, we either use this on a daily basis or we really, really like it. We'd like to keep it, but just see what we have space for. And so we ended up kind of getting to the point where it was like, okay, well, we've pretty well cleared out everything, or we've gotten everything in that we can without like cramming this space too full. So like now we have to start getting rid of some more stuff, which has been difficult, but it's just stuff. It's not really, I don't know, hasn't been too hard for us. Um, then Friday I had a half day of rest. I did a little bit more of my work. I was exhausted at this point. Because like I had 3 weeks of rehabbing the house, and then we had 3 weeks off while we were showing the house, but that was still crazy. Like keeping the house spotless clean during showings was just crazy, especially with all the kids. And then after that had to do repairs. So it was like we've just been like going. If you think about it, for like I don't know, 2 months now. And then we had the car wreck before that, which we were going like crazy for that too. So I mean, like 3, 4 months, it's been insane. So I was exhausted. I like just lounged around, did a little bit of work, and then on Saturday, I had promised my kids when we moved into my parents, they call them Tippy and Pops. We moved to Tippy and Pops property. I was going to set them up their pool. And so Saturday, I spent most of the day setting up our above ground pool. And then after that, I was going to go set up KB's baby gate. And as I turn like from the pool and I look at our trailer, now mind you, I'm very new to this trailer, so I don't really know like what's exactly normal, what's not normal. And when the AC runs, it like runs off the roof to this like gutter and then drops off the condensation line. And a house has this too. It just doesn't drip off the roof. It's like underneath, or to the side or something like that. And so I'm used to water dripping from the trailer, but I turn from the pool and I look at our trailer. And I mean, we got like a 45-foot wide or long trailer. It's pretty big. I look at it and there's just water coming out like like a waterfall from all over the bottom of this trailer. And I just stopped and I looked, and something inside just told me that's not good. As I'm like, what is happening right now? And so I start walking back a little bit quicker. I'm like looking around the whole outside. I'm like, okay, why is there water coming out of our trailer everywhere? And now, mind you, I just spent like half a day in the Texas heat, like 100 degrees, I think it was, moving a yard of sand over there, leveling everything out to set up the pool. So I'm already pretty whooped at this point. And I was literally walking back to the trailer to fill up my water bottle because I was exhausted because I was about to go into the shop by a fan in order to be able to work on this gate. So there's water everywhere. So I open up like the main front door and there is water all over the living room, the steps to the carpet's all wet, up in the bathroom area. Like everything was wet. The girls were down for a nap. My wife, it was with the baby in the other room taking a nap. And I was like, what? Why is there water everywhere? It was not good. So then I go to the back and I open the door. Like I felt so bad waking up Libby, but I was like, Libby, you've got to get out of bed right now. And she's like, what happened? I was like, get out of bed. She gets up real quick and we start looking around. There's water everywhere. And so immediately I went, obviously I turned off the water to the trailer and then we started inspecting everything. Long story short, there's like this clean out thing that we have as a part of the black tank, which is the poo poo tank for a trailer. I won't go too into that because that's not really a fun topic. But there's like this clean out thing. We think it must have just gotten left on just a little bit, like just cracked open after I had cleaned the tank and it just like backed up. And that ended up pouring all into the trailer. Well, here, so this is where the story gets even crazier. So we cleaned up all the water, made sure there was no water leak. I took off a bunch of the belly to make sure, which is like the sealing thing. It's what seals the belly so I could see inside. I'm looking there with a flashlight. I'm like, okay, I don't see anything leaking. I had thought like a water pipe busted or something like that. So looking in there, so we pretty much had deduced like, okay, it wasn't a water pipe that had busted. Well, then our electricity went out. And it was like, what the heck? So then after like this whole water problem, now I've got this electricity problem. Couldn't get the air conditioners to turn on, couldn't get the fridge to turn on. Some of the lights still worked, and it was like, okay, obviously those are running off of the battery. Why is the fridge not working? Why is our air conditioners not working? So then after hours of figuring out the water thing and then going to figure out the electrical thing, we had this transfer box. And so one of the things that doesn't work on our trailer right now is a generator. So there's a transfer box that has a generator power coming into it, and then the shore power, which is like your main power from your electrical meter, basically coming into this box. And then it can basically auto transfer. If the generator's on, it's going to just go ahead and switch over to generator power. If it's not receiving power from the generator, it's going to switch to the shore power. Well, this box, it's in like basically a breaker box, which is like a waterproof box, definitely not made for water to get into. Whoever had messed with this last, which wasn't me because we only had the trailer for a few days, had left the lid off of this box. And so when water overflowed from our bathroom, it kind of overflowed into this cavity underneath, which is where all the electrical stuff is, including this transfer case box. So it burnt out the motherboard on the transfer switch box. So ended up, praise the Lord, hadn't ruined anything else. And so we were able to dry everything out. This is a big 6-gauge wire. So I was able to pull it out, splice it together with the main line that goes to the rest of the house. So now if I ever go to fix a generator, I also have to fix the transfer box. But I was able to splice those together with like this heat shrink waterproofing kind of deal. And everything was good again. We were able to kick our ACs back on, kick the fridge back on. Praise the Lord. During that time, our fridge still was able to work off the propane because it's a trailer. So that's kind of one of the nice amenities. So everything was good. So after a very long moving process, after a very long Saturday of setting up the pool, we ended up setting up all the stuff we got the electricity fixed, we got the water fixed, moved into the trailer, and Sunday was my first day of total rest in a long time. I literally slept for 11 hours yesterday, and I'm feeling a lot better now. I just got a lot of work ahead of me. So anyways, that's been just like a little bit of a life update. I know I can't way in depth on the life update. Didn't really talk about like business stuff, but that's a part of my wealthy legacy journey. This all the difficulty and the learning that we're going through right now. Oh, mind you, yesterday or on Saturday that day, I actually did a plumbing thing before that on our trailer to get a hard line hooked up for cleaning out the tanks. But my baby boy had woke up at 5 a.m. So my workday started at 5 a.m. Did the plumbing thing first, then I did the pool, and it was like 2 o'clock when the water leak happened. So I'd already been working for a long time when I hit like all these problems. So, anyways, crazy day. Felt good to rest yesterday. I'm so glad that we're moved in and we're getting settled back out. I'm excited to get these episodes back to normal. It's going to probably take a few weeks to get settled back into the point where we're ready to go back to normal. When that happens, I'm excited. So lots of cool things coming up. That's a huge part of my wealthy legacy journey, though, is just decreasing my expenses in order to increase my cash flow. We're also working to increase our income through different investments. Like I said, 50% going real estate, 50% is going to be stocks and options. So, anyways, with all that said, I'm getting texts and stuff already for my workday, so I better go ahead and close out this episode and let me get on and let you guys get on. But yeah, with all that said, guys, let's say our identity mantra before we close out the episode. So I'm gonna say it first. You guys say it after me. I explore the unknown. I conquer new frontiers. My journey is powerful, and my wake is a wealthy legacy. Yeah, and to be honest with you guys, like that it's powerful for me this week. Like that's what we're like exploring the unknown, conquering new frontiers. Like we're freaking moved from a house to a fifth wheel. Like we're in 400 square feet with 5 people, 3 of those people being under the age of 5 years old. Like we got a lot of life going on right now. Plus, we're trying to build our own business while I'm working a job, and it's crazy. But we're doing it. And it seems like a lot, but it's just one foot in front of the other. But as a reminder to myself and to you guys, the way we define wealthy here at the Wealthy Legacy Journey is simply the ability to cover your monthly expenses without having to lift a finger. How can you get that financial freedom in your life where you're creating that passive investment income, as you grow? Legacy is leaving a long-lasting impact on others who come after you as they receive the fruit of your labor, whether that fruit be good or bad. So for me, I'm trying to plant those seeds right now that are going to bear the fruit that I'm looking for in my life and that I want to leave my kids and my kids' kids. Um, because a wise man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. So the only way my children's children get that inheritance is if I teach my kids how to maintain and protect their inheritance in order to be able to pass it on for another generation. So it's not even just about accumulating, it's also about teaching, and it's about planting good seeds financially and then also planting those seeds mentally into my next generation. So, anyways, with all that said, guys, we really would appreciate it if you would like the video, subscribe to the channel. Really helps the algorithm and it helps me know that you like the content and like the direction that we're going with everything. With all this said, this has been another episode dedicated to you and your own personal wealthy legacy journey. It was awesome hanging out with you guys. Go out there, take your right next step. Obviously, it's taking a lot of steps just to get to this place where we're at right now. What are the steps it's going to take to get to that big place that you need to get to in order to be able to build your own personal wealthy legacy journey? Ask yourself the question and then go out there and make it happen. Make sure you let me know what's going on. I'm so excited to hear about your guys' success stories, and I will see you guys on the next episode. Bye, everybody.